Unbelievable. You're back in the streets, running from the feds, man. Look at you.
We need you, Ka. Corn Pop is a bad dude.
Corn Pop is a bad dude. Hey, yo, Dirk, you heard what he said about corn? Corn Pop is a bad dude. Man, Corn Pop built this city. He got a lot of people loyal to him on this block. You know what they used to say? Corn Pop got the drop and Obama got the drama.
What are we watching?
I got that thing that goes. So you better check yourself before you shit yourself.
Oh, no. All right. Maybe I didn't
on.
beforehand. I would vote for that Biden. At least he's coherent, making sense when he speaks. All right, wait. We should do something to clean the palate. Go with the garbage truck one that I had. That one was actually wholesome.
We're cleaning our palate with the garbage truck?
Yeah, you'll see. It's funny.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, I've seen this one.
Yeah, it's an oldie. That made me laugh. I love when kids torture people. Yeah, that Obama Biden deepfake is actually really funny, man. I figured we would throw the Synod stuff up just to get people lured in. But it turns out there's actually stuff from the Synod I do want to talk about tonight. But
Just not what you originally thought?
yeah, basically. Francis just did an interview about how the church needs to change and stuff. So we'll read that interview. But on my ride home, I listened to Fradd, and Brian Holdsworth was on there with him today. And it's a really good interview. Like, oh God.
I hear Holdsworth held his feet to the fire a little.
A little bit. And Holdsworth was pretty honest. I mean, he was very careful what he said, but I pulled a clip up. You want to just pull the clip up? It's not too long, but there's two parts to this. We'll listen to the first clip. I thought the conversation in general was just very honest. I really liked it, man. It was it made the ride home fly by. Thank you, Tyler.
It's a long one, right?
What'd you say?
The interview overall is a long one, right?
It's a long one. They start off talking about just how they got to know each other. It was pretty cool because you got to hear how Matt actually winds up getting the gig at Catholic Answers, and then eventually starts his podcast and stuff. Like it was a set of events that just happened that just seemed like God had his hand in the whole thing, you know. But
that is trad flag fly. I like that one.
Yeah, he did. Holdsworth really listen. What we're about to play, you're going to. All right, so I'm going to say more than these two guys said. They were very cautious. I'm going to say a little bit more, but I really did appreciate the honesty from both of them. Matt had a lot of good things to say in the interview too. So let's just play this real quick.
Brandon, we're stealing from Pipes with Aquinas because they steal from us.
I mean, they steal bits from us. We're giving them credit at least.
Right.
We're at least giving them credit.
We started going to Latin Mass. Because it's a fairly barren landscape of liturgy where I live. I hear about these great Novus Ordo masses down here in the United States where there's lots of cultural elements, right?
They don't
be ready to pause.
They just don't exist.
Right. So be ready to pause because right off the bat, I have to say, I feel like he's being a little politically correct there. I think he knows it's a political wasteland out there. I mean, a liturgical wasteland.
Liturgical wasteland, yeah.
It is a liturgical wasteland. I mean, you might find if there's a dozen unicorn masses in the entire United States. Remember when Anthony was enamored with Matt Fradd? I remember. I remember. That was such a good episode of South Park. So he's being politically correct here because if there's a dozen really good Novus Ordos in the entire United States, that's a lot.
I know of two, and they're both 15 minutes apart in the Twin Cities.
I don't know of one in my diocese.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm
in both those parishes offer weekly if not daily Latin masses. So
they're both formless masses.
Yeah.
Both Reformed parishes. So the even Novus Ordo parishes that do the TLM aren't exactly unicorns. Yeah, Don said that. So I agree. I think a lot of times we have to speak in language that's like, look, we're not, because I think his point in saying that is, I'm not saying the Novus Ordo is invalid, guys, when it's celebrated properly. And we would say that too.
Todd, do you know what I would look like if I like wore a vet? I would look like G.K. Chesterton. You know what I mean? Like,
listen, the best you got, the most dressed up we'll ever be is our Schneider interview. You're not seeing anything more than that, guys. I got news for you. That is the best of the best you will get from Rob and I. All right, let's keep playing. I know it drives me nuts when people play clips and they interrupt it every 2 seconds. So,
well, we usually try to drive people nuts. So
that's true.
It's a great expression of our faith. But where I live, it's like, it's the breaking bread variety, and it's not even breaking bread up like current breaking bread. It's like 1980s breaking bread. Like we haven't even got the new subscription yet. And it's all boomers leading all the way. And God bless the boomers. I love them, but their cultural instincts aren't great. So we started going to Latin Mass, and shortly after going, so we'd gone for maybe a month. I remember we were driving there, and we've got all the kids packed in our big Catholic-sized van. And I was afraid to ask them this question because I thought I knew what the answer was going to be. But I was like, hey, so we've been going to this Latin Mass for a little while. Do you guys want to keep going to this, or do you want to go back to our old parish? And they like triumphantly like cheering, fists in the air, Latin Mass, Latin Mass. And I was like, what? Okay, cool. And then around the same time too, my fifth oldest now, he was maybe 1 or 2 at the time. He was getting really restless at one point. And so I picked him up, and there was a cloud of incense just floating over us at this one point, and it caught the rays of the stained glass just right. So it was like really apparent right where we were standing. And he was down in the pew, down in the netherworlds, where in the shadows, where who knows what goes on down there. When I picked him up into the light, he's sort of like, oh, look. Then he goes, prayers. I was like, yeah, buddy, that's exactly what that is, right? At a Novus Ordo, like, yeah, maybe things are in the vernacular. Maybe they're more accessible in a lot of respects, but they're not accessible to a 1-year-old, let alone a 10-year-old a lot of the time. The language that we use in our prayers is very high ecclesiastical language. The homilies typically, even at the best of times, aren't relatable to most kids. But that sensory experience is intuitive to their human nature. And even if they don't understand the explicit stuff, they do understand this stuff. And it's something.
Okay, so the couple of times my kids have had to go to a Novus Ordo for whatever reason, whether it's for whatever reason, if they had to go because they had some event and they couldn't make the times for the Latin Mass, they come home and they're like, that was dreadful. Yeah. So this past Sunday, I remember a couple of weeks ago, I told the story of my wife's girlfriend that had the problem with the drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. So my wife's girlfriend she OD'd. It was like this crazy thing that happened.
Right.
She lost her husband left, her kids got taken away, everything.
Yep.
She came to Latin Mass with us this past Sunday. That was her first time ever going. And she wept through the entire thing. She said afterwards, she felt like she was transported to heaven, hearing the choir singing. She said it felt like she was listening to angels singing. Like the sensory experience this girl had was overwhelming to the point where she was in tears. And the thing is, we kind of don't talk about the Latin Mass that much because you assume most people have already heard about it or have been exposed to it. But a lot of people are checking out our channel, right? And I also saw Donna again, who we saw in Manhattan.
On our channel or in person?
Remember we met Donna in Manhattan when we went?
But I'm saying, did you see her again on the channel?
I saw her at Mass on Sunday.
Okay.
So she, from listening to us, decided to go check out a Latin Mass. There was another guy who we had an interaction on Twitter. Turns out he goes to the parish that my wife went to RCIA in.
Oh, really?
Which was abysmal. Horrible. Okay.
So we had a little denied at
multiple times, right?
Yeah,
we had a conversation on Twitter and I was like, hey, you should come to St. Matthew's in Dix Hills every first and third. I'm walking out of Mass and he comes up to me and he goes, Anthony. I'm like, what's going on? He goes, This is my first time coming. Thank you so much for telling me they had this. It's important to bring these conversations up and still talk about them once in a while. I know that like sometimes they feel like we have them ad nauseum, and it's like how many times
we don't talk about liturgy too often, actually.
I don't think we do, right? But hearing this conversation, you got to hear the end of it, because what he says at the end is it broke my heart when you really think about what he says towards the end.
We just want to bring this one up here.
Went to an ad orientem, half English, Latin Novus Ordo at college and still felt deficient. The theology and text of the Novus Ordo itself is the problem. So you won't. Okay, so when you go to a mass like that, I have attended one. When you go to one, you're not nitpicking. At least you're not upset the whole time. You still do. There is still something lacking.
Yeah, definitely.
There's something lacking. But you're not nitpicking where you're just like cringing through the mass. There's a lot of things at the Novus Ordo that are very difficult to sit through after you've been exposed to the traditional liturgy for so long. So, all right, go back. Let's just hear towards the end. And then later on, Matt asked him about Traditionis Custodes. I should have cut that clip too. If I knew we were going to talk about this tonight, I just wanted to get something up.
Something they can interact with and they can respond to and they can identify and they can think about afterwards and they can imagine, and it fills their mind's eye. And that's the thing I realized at that point. And I didn't have any perception of this until my kids' response to it. And I was like, they get this. Like, I get it because I'm thinking about it rationally, but they just get it. It just speaks to them. And we've lost that as a church. And there's no, like, if to whatever degree we're engaged in culture conflict today or the culture wars, and that's a turnoff for a lot of people, but we do need to be influencing the culture if we're going to be evangelizing, but we can't do it without a culture of our own. If we're just trying to piggyback off of the existing culture, people will be like, yeah, you're just posing. You're just not the real thing. You're just trying to hijack this thing that we already have. We don't need to get it from you. And we don't really want your creed either. So,
okay, so what they go on to talk about is how, let's use my cousin's parish for an example, where we met Todd, Enoch, and Eddie all went to that, right? Yep. They have this vibrant community down there that is, they said after mass, they get out of mass and you'll just have the men outside talking for over an hour, the kids all playing in the field, the wives all talking with each other.
They generally just naturally bring food for after mass.
Yeah, to all hang out together. They have this unique Catholic culture surrounding this liturgy. There's something about this liturgy that forms this Catholic culture. The men have a men's group. They do once a month. They do something together. These guys do like a perpetual Exodus 90, not as severe, but they all hold each other accountable. They're constantly praying for something specific as a group, constantly sacrificing something together as a group, holding one another to a higher standard. This is basically the Benedict option that they have at that parish.
Yeah.
So Matt goes in and asks Brian what he thinks of Traditionis. And when you really think about what they did by taking this away, right? These communities that people are driving from all over the place to meet up with each other. It's such an awful thing. Like the culture that we are up against.
The Vatican killed whole communities.
Whole vibrant communities where these men and women and their children had a chance to combat this evil culture that is trying to swallow them up. The way you do that is by forming these Catholic communities and having your children have Catholic friends and raising them in a Catholic environment. Now, when you break a community like that apart, it is so, it's evil. I don't care what anybody says. It's evil to do that. You can use whatever excuse you want and say, well, they were using this as a rallying point to go against Francis and things like that, but that's not what they were doing.
The more we see from Francis, the more clear it should be that he did it specifically to kill the communities. He did it because these are the people that are opposing his program of destroying the faith. I mean, the man just had Sister what's her name from New Ways Ministry at the Vatican today promoting LGBT bullshit when he kills whole Latin mass communities. It's just, and then people want to
People that-
explain it away and call you crazy.
People that write that off with him meeting with her and New Ways Ministry. I mean, New Ways Ministry was banned.
1997, 99, something like that.
So it was banned under JP2, and that ban continued under Benedict.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't changed a single thing about the things they teach. They were banned because they lead Catholics into confusion about what the church teaches. It was deemed unacceptable to have this ministry, if you could call it that. It's horrific. And for Francis to be posing for these photo ops while this is going on, it's just the whole show Matt did with Brian was really good. It was an honest discussion. They were giving like really good ways to keep your children Catholic and things you could do with your family. I thought it was one of the best pint shows I've seen in a long time. It was really great to see Brian actually say some of these things, because I don't typically watch Brian Holdsworth because he does like short videos by himself usually.
It's just not my style.
Right. It has nothing to do with him. I typically I enjoy a conversation more than I enjoy a single person going on screen and telling you something. I just do. I enjoy listening to a conversation. So hearing him and Matt have this conversation today was, I thought it was amazing. Just the honesty of it, and just him saying like, listen, look, like what our bishops are doing. And the thing is, I'm fortunate enough to have a bishop that kind of just ignores a lot of the stuff. But for any bishop that wants to actually follow that motu proprio, it involves massacring a community like that. And to me, that just, I can't see anything in that is not evil. I mean, I hesitate to use harsh language like that, I guess, but it just seems so twisted and wrong. I mean, you're taking the one thing that could equip these families to let their children go into the world without losing their soul and ripping it away.
Yep.
It just seems so crazy. So, all right. Yeah. If you guys haven't seen that, definitely go check that interview out. It was really, really good. Before we even get into the next topic, we have a couple of things we're going to do on locals tonight that we can't do on here. We just can't do on here. One of them is there was a non-binary person was pulled over for DUI, because I've been watching a lot of.
Did you send me that one?
I didn't send it. We're gonna have to do it on a YouTube. We'll just go to the YouTube link. I'll send you the YouTube link.
Okay.
And we'll skip through it to the highlights. It's hilarious. Just this indigenous non-binary person getting arrested for DUI and thinking, I can't even get into anything on here. We'll get the boot. The other thing I had was,
did they identify as sober?
the other one was a group of women in a group setting being told they're racist. That's another hilarious one.
I saw that one.
So those are a couple of things we're going to do over on locals. Plus at 8:30, Enoch is going to come on.
So we got 6 minutes.
Yeah, we got 6 minutes, so we can do
what we want to talk about
while we're on that subject. We'll stick with that subject. Oh, so please like, subscribe, and then guys, if you're not on our locals, go join our locals. All right. Pope Francis suggests the Synod is a continuation of Vatican II. The church has to change. Among the more striking changes advanced by Pope Francis is his recent encouragement of priests to bless same-sex unions, in contradiction to the unchangeable Catholic teaching.
And for anyone who wants to say anymore that that's not what he did, the man just had New Ways Ministry at the Vatican. So,
I mean, it's literally what he's doing. I mean, but he's just using crazy language to justify it. So the church has to change, argued Pope Francis in a recent interview, highlighting post-Vatican II changes, which he said must continue. Progress is necessary, and the church has to incorporate these novelties with a serious conversation from a human point of view.
Well, at least he admits they're novelties. Now, could everyone else who Pope explains at least admit that finally?
They're not even novelties. That's the thing. I mean, they're novelties in the church.
Right.
These are not novelties.
No,
the church has spoken very clearly about these things for a very long time. With the topic of the synod raised by Telam, Argentina's national news agency, Francis highlighted how the event was to be understood in light of the council. Since the Second Vatican Council, John the 23rd had a very clear perception the church has to change. Paul VI agreed, just like the succeeding popes. That's not true. I mean, maybe John the 23rd and Paul VI. I guess he's right. Francis argued that such a change was not just about changing ways. It's about a change of growth in favor of the dignity of people. That's theological progression of moral theology and all ecclesiastical sciences, even in the interpretation of scriptures that have progressed according to the feelings of the church. That is an insane statement.
Well, that is the literal definition of modernism.
That's an insane statement.
Yep.
Such a change was not just about changing ways. It's about a change of growth in favor of the dignity of people. That's theological progression of moral theology and all the ecclesiastical sciences, even in the interpretation of scriptures that have progressed according to the feelings of the church.
That is a condemned statement right there. That the interpretation of scriptures must progress according to the feeling. That is a condemned statement.
And what does he mean by feelings of the church?
Who knows?
What feelings of what church? All I see is devastation in the church and outrage in the church. So what church is he talking about? The Pope decried any change made through rupture, saying that we either progress through development or things don't turn out right. Rupture leaves you out of the sap of development. He uses these silly phrases, the sap of development. It's just fluffy language. Employing imagery of a tree, Francis spoke in favor of needing tradition in the good sense of the word. We all have traditions, a family. We were all born within the culture of a country, a political culture.
That's not the Catholic definition of tradition.
We all have a tradition for which to take responsibility. Such comments by the Pope linking the Synod on synodality to Vatican II are becoming a consistent theme. Only yesterday, a Synod member and theologian involved in the organization of the Synod process stated that the Synod was a continuation of the Council. Now the Vatican II theology rather than ecclesiology is being revived. What's crazy is these were all things that were happening during the Council. And John Paul II and Benedict tried to rein it in with this hermeneutic of continuity. They tried to say, look, the liturgical changes are one thing, but the moral theology stays the same.
No,
the thing that they messed with too much was ecumenism.
They didn't do that in the council. Like Benedict was part of the group that was pushing for changes. It was after the council where the communio and concilium, split at that point.
But I meant under Benedict's
the papacy
itself,
yes.
Where he tried to say there's a hermeneutic of continuity. You can't just change. This all has to make sense with what came before. I just don't see how this continues. I don't see how this continues without a rupture.
Yeah.
With everything happening in the world and everything happening, I tell you, my priest gave an amazing homily this weekend, though, talking about the ark and just being at peace with Christ asleep in the boat. Just be at peace about it. As upset as I am about this and as crazy as these things sound, I don't know. I feel like we just kind of have to say, okay, God knows what's happening right now, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's how you stay in the church at this point, right? I mean, how else do you stay otherwise?
It's anxiety inducing to not go off and say what I want to say. Yeah, Don's right. It's hard to trust the book. I mean, we've said it before. There's so many people who come into the church because of the stability of doctrine itself.
Mm-hmm.
But Francis will say things. He'll say things that just contradict each other and outright. He'll say, no. We don't change the doctrine. We just change the pastoral nature, like the pastoral application of the. But in doing that, you are changing the doctrine. I don't understand how this Pope's planers left.
I think they are the ones that struggle even more than we do to just trust. And so they need to rationalize it in their heads. Otherwise, they're out the door.
So what do guys like that do if an actual doctrinal change comes? Do they, all right, Enoch's here, so.
Well, for instance, we know what certain people are going to do.
You're jumping mid-sentence here, Enoch. Just try to
finish your thought.
For instance, we know what some people are going to do if, say, we get a pope that actually believes in the Catholic faith. People like Mike Lewis have said they'll just shut up shop.
Yeah.
With where Peter is. So I don't know.
You would think like an outfit like that. This is the heart of the Synod, right? They have a podcast. You would think they'd be podcasting every day, talking about the amazingness of the Synod. What are their what do their numbers look like compared to ours? Do we have that?
I happen to actually have that. Believe it or not.
Pretty funny. You just happen to have that.
Before I bring it up, like you would think they would be talking about the Synod, and like you said, all the wonderful thing it's doing. All they want to talk about right now is Schneider's new book.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
You
get
know
into
what
that.
I mean?
How they're talking about Schneider's book and they're trashing Scott Hahn again because he endorsed it.
I told you that was going to happen when we saw that book.
I didn't know he endorsed it until they brought it out, though. So, all right, let's just see. Okay, so the bottom line is where Peter is.
Now, to be fair, they do only have a fifth the number of subscribers we do.
Okay.
But it's still 46,000 views to 2.6 thousand.
Yeah, I just think there's no interest in it, right? There's even the supposed fans of it don't care. They're not. There's no excitement around this thing, even from the sycophants, is all I'm saying.
Well, it's like when you're trying to tear something down, there's no excitement in that destruction. You're excited for whatever you're going to build next. So they're not excited. Like they're trying to tear the church down. They're trying to get rid of it, destroy it, so they can build something new. They're not excited about this part. They're just too busy thinking about the next part.
They want to see the document at the end.
Yeah.
They're excited for the document at the end. So, all right, we brought Enoch on because we debuted a new show on Sunday. Somebody put a really good comment in the comments on it, Rob. They said we should do it early in the morning on Sunday.
The problem I have with that is everyone's met, like, especially for those of us that go to the TLM, like our mass times are all over the board. Right. So if you air it on at a certain time on Sunday morning, it's going to be after some people are at mass. It's going to be before some people are at mass. It's going to be during some people's mass. If you air it 7 p.m. Sunday night, everyone's able to watch it.
Right. But it's only a 5-minute show. They don't need to catch it live.
Yeah, that's true.
I think we should just
if we do that, then I say we do it early Sunday morning so that everyone has the ability to get 5 minutes of good news before going to mass.
Yeah, 7 a.m. and they know they can put it in the car with their kids and wife, and it'll be something wholesome, something uplifting on the way to mass.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all getting good, thumbs up from people? Should we keep doing it?
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about it.
When you proposed doing it, I wasn't sure how you were going to do it. First off,
I didn't either.
That hook to Unite the Clans 2 is so good.
Is that 2 or is it
yes
a future one? That's number 2.
No, that's part 2. I always thought I liked the first one better. That hook, holy cow! I've been singing it in my head all day, man.
We are obligated to say we like the first one better.
Well, I like the first one better just because I'm a narcissist and I'm mentioned in it. But the second one, that hook, man, is so good.
Anthony, everyone wants Kevin James to come on.
All right, so I approached Kevin James after Mass last Sunday.
Get out. What happened?
Yeah, I did.
Well, Anthony has a new protection order against him.
Gotta hear this.
I just went up to him. I was like, because while we were up in Pennsylvania, Father Nix invited him. Father Nix was like, hey, I'm up in Pennsylvania with somebody who goes to the same parish as you. So I just walked up to him and I was like, "Hey, Kev," I'm like, "I was with Father Nick's last weekend. He sent you an invite up to, I brought a bunch of guys upstate. I'm like, I know you couldn't make it, but if if you want to come next year, you're more than welcome to." He was like, "Oh, that's great, man. Thank you." He was very nice. What are you gonna? I couldn't drag the conversation out. He was just
If
introducing.
Kevin ever comes on the show, he probably could never get another TV or movie role ever.
I wouldn't want to put him on the spot, man. It's he knows so many people that do this, and he's never gone on anybody's show. He clearly doesn't want to do someone's show. But the other person I met last Sunday was Ryan.
You're really forgetting his name?
Drawing a blank. I don't know why.
Starts with a K. From
Ryan Katsu Rivera. Ryan Rivera is he's Gavin McInnes's producer, basically.
Oh, okay.
He's like his producer and co-host. So I've been watching Ryan for years, like back when he was on Anthony Cumia's show. Like his Twitter handle is Asian Pat Dixon because he used to do an impression of another comedian named Pat Dixon. And I've been watching him for that long. So I talked to him after Mass also, and he said he would come on with us because I want to hear his story.
That'd be dope.
How long has he been like Catholic?
I see him and his wife and his kid there every week. So, he's, I didn't know it was him. So so he's Japanese, right? So,
oh gosh.
Now,
Anthony, no, not all Asians look alike.
No, but like,
well,
they kind of look alike. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Enoch, you can get away with saying that. We can't.
Sure you can.
The first time I see him there, and I'm like, and I thought it was him, and I'm like, nah, no way. What are the chances? No way. I'm like, I don't want to just go up to some Japanese guy and be like, is your name Ryan, and not be him, right? So I just let it go. And then he posted something on Twitter about
Japanese
Jesus.
guy named Ryan. Yeah, that's the first mistake.
So he posted something on Twitter about like Christ the King, and I was like, Ryan, do you go to a Latin Mass on Long Island by any chance? He's like, yes, sir. I was like, oh man, I seen you at Mass a couple of weeks ago. I wanted to come over and say hello. I wasn't sure it was you. So he would laugh at that, by the way. It's Jackie Chan. Listen, with Dumb Guinea from New York, they all look alike to me. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I get it.
So all right. So what made you even come up with the idea for Good Catholic News, bro?
Oh man, I think I caught one of you guys' show just like briefly before my wife had me go change a diaper. I'm that kind of trad. So I caught her for a quick second, and you guys were talking about somebody's conversion story. I forgot who it was. And I was like, this is the kind of news that people need to hear about. All the stuff that's happening in the church, but people forget that God is still working in our personal lives, in the local levels, in the parishes as well. But we don't get to hear about them because they're, out in the caves. Especially after the motor proprio, we've a lot of these communities have just been broken apart, unfortunately.
It's like you watched the first part of our show.
Did you watch
tonight.
the beginning of our show?
No,
That's literally what we talked about.
We were just we actually used your parish as an example, just saying when the motor proprio came out, that some parishes that were just like yours got broken up, and these were the only way for families to combat the culture.
Yeah.
Right? Like you guys get together regularly, you guys are all tight together. If they just ripped your parish apart from you guys and you guys all got scattered, it would destroy the best weapon you have to arm your children against the culture that's trying to swallow them up.
Absolutely. And don't forget, a lot of we get new families coming in almost every week now.
That's great.
And the majority of our folks that are coming into our parish are orphans, which means we're not from Kentucky.
Parish orphans.
Parish orphans, yeah.
You got to give Gordon credit for that phrase.
It's a perfect phrase.
Yeah.
It's an amazing phrase, man.
Let's not forget, most of us not from Kentucky. So that parish is our family.
Yeah.
Like I don't have any friends in Kentucky outside of the TLM community. And So that's why I think a lot of us congregate after Mass and get together, because we don't have family here.
Yeah. Yeah, you do Thanksgiving and Christmas with my cousin.
Yeah.
You stole my family. I'm upset about it.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I've been thinking about this. I woke up and this thought popped in my head the other day, and I think I tweeted about this, but I want to share it here. The language that they use for the morte proprio in Traditionis Custodes is that we're going to take it away because the people who are using this are using it as a weapon to dissent from the magisterium. It's the same language as the left uses when it comes to gun control. We're going to take away these guns because it's being used by bad guys. We're going to take away the TLM because it's been used against. So it's very leftist way of thinking.
Well, especially because they're taking away inherent goods.
Right.
The ability to defend yourself, the Mass itself.
Absolutely, 100%.
But think about how many of those Novus Ordo parishes are used as vehicles of dissent.
All of them.
Well, yeah, especially like the ones that are. I mean, how many Reverend Novus Ordos do we know? We have one in Kentucky. Well, two.
If you tell stories about my family, that's like you guys got to do double shots. They do a drinking game if I mention my family.
But after I came a bit edified just for that 5 minutes that you guys were on.
Yeah, it's Kentucky.
Talk about family, man. Todd's one of the greatest guys.
Todd, does that mean Joey? Is Joey?
Wait, is that our Todd?
That's our Todd.
Are you kidding me? He's been in here and I didn't even know him.
That's our Todd.
No.
First off, my Todd's better than your Todd.
First off, we're all orphans. We can share him, right?
No, I want to get him on though. I want to have Todd on. You guys have we had such a good time on that trip, man. Like meeting Todd, first off, like the way all of us everybody just clicked so well. We had such a great time on that trip. It was one of my favorite weekends I've had in a really long time, man. It was such a great time, and having Father Nick's there to keep the whole thing centered around the Mass was such an awesome time.
It was my second favorite retreat of all time that I've ever been in, hands down.
It was just so much fun to have a bunch of guys together, start every day off with Mass like that, and then spend the day cooking, laughing, quadding. It was just a really good time.
I feel like you're setting us up to ask you what the first favorite was.
Well, when I first met Father Ripperger, he led the retreat, and I mean it was great because everybody got a chance to do spiritual direction with him, and I mean that's hard to beat. But Father Dave Nix was just absolutely incredible. And I will say this about our weekend together, and ladies will never understand this because my wife doesn't. The fact that we got together for 4 days and none of us left the house once.
Not once. We thought we were going to, and we were just having such a good time there together that we were like, let's just stay here. Well, let me tell you something. We all got so the last night we didn't have cameras on, which is good and bad, because I really wish we could have shared the conversation, but there's not a chance in hell we could have shared this conversation because Enoch comes out and he goes, okay, guys, question. What is your favorite and least favorite thing about your wife?
It makes it sound like we said bad things about our wives, and that's why we wouldn't share it. It's more like, no, they were actually all very good things about them, but they were all personal things that we wouldn't want shared.
100%. But we had to go around. This was such a great question too. Yeah. He goes around. There's 9 guys standing around in a circle, sitting around a fire, just sitting, smoking cigars. And he goes, okay, let's go around in a circle. What's your favorite and least favorite thing about your spouse? And then when it came back and everybody did it, he went, okay, now what's your wife's favorite and least favorite thing about you?
That was your question.
Yes, because I wanted to make sure we were fair, right? Because of course you're going to have something that is your favorite and least favorite thing about your spouse, but you have to look inward and see your own faults too. So it was a really good conversation, man. And then just Father Nix blew me away with how often he would just call us back to prayer. It wasn't just Mass. That man prays all day. When me and Rob drove with him, rosary, the whole car ride. Just he's such a good dude.
My favorite moment of the weekend was with Todd. We were all sitting around the second night, and you, Anthony, have a big solo cup, and you just take the bourbon cream and just fill your solo cup with the bourbon cream. And Todd and I just look at each other, and our eyes just come out. And then he just looks at you and goes, Anthony, you know there is alcohol in that, right?
Dude. And I'm saying, wait, should I put real bourbon in it? Should I put real bourbon with it? Just, it was delicious, man. Me and Rob were doing Irish car bombs.
We did do Irish car bombs, that's right.
We did Irish car bombs. We did. Rob kept making fun of me because I like pumpkin beer with the.
No, oh, technical difficulties. I don't know what happened. Don't know what happened. I guess he's not coming back on tonight, guys.
Oh man.
I made Rob.
No, I told you I would do this.
Sold. Never gets sold, man.
All right, I won't do it. I won't do it.
Well, let me talk about the cigars with Anthony.
Oh, I know what you're gonna. Yeah,
dude, that was the funniest thing. So, Anthony, you had quit smoking for about a month at this point, right?
Yeah.
So, no vaping, no cigarettes.
I still haven't gone back, by the way.
Hey, man, kudos to you. That's hard, bro. So that's it's honestly like kudos. So we're smoking cigars, and we bought enough cigars for like days, for weeks actually.
Well, for normal people, yeah.
Now I could smoke one cigar maybe a day for a week, and then I got to take a bunch of time off. And I smoke them slowly. I'll probably smoke one for about 45 minutes to an hour.
If I have two in a whole day, I'm a little like nicotine sick by the end of that go on.
Anthony is smoking his first cigar. Now this is a 45-minute cigar, and I put my head down. We're having a conversation. Literally 8 minutes passes by, and it's down to the wrapper.
I suck. 45 minutes ago, that is 8 minutes.
I've never
grabs another cigar, starts smoking it. After his third cigar, it's like down to the wrapper again. Looks at me and goes, "Fawaz, give me something to smoke here." I'm like, "You just had 3 cigars in 1 hour."
That did not stop him from lighting up the fourth, ladies and gentlemen. He lit up the fourth, finished it, and then packed a pipe and smoked that.
Yeah, dude. When I'm around guys that everybody's smoking and I can't have a cigarette, I would have probably smoked a pack of cigarettes that night. No joke. No, I didn't inhale it. I was very cautious about that.
Todd, wait another 5 minutes on the local stream, and Anthony will divulge what you asked him not to. Rob, just ask Eddie.
Eddie is another great man. Hey, I think the best way to get Todd on is I can have him on a Thursday or Tuesday and Thursday over at my house.
Let's do it,
and maybe have Eddie here too, so all 3 of us can come in my shed and we'll have a show together.
I would.
You'll just have to get a Halloween mask and voice changer for Eddie.
Well, I'll just use the bag. I'll just use the bag my wife puts over my head. So.
Yeah, Eddie doesn't want to be on camera, but I'm like, you got to come on with us, man. Joey will come on. Joey, my brother Joey, Fawaz does a phenomenal Joey impression.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
The first time I ever meet him, it just shows up with 6 pizzas.
Yeah,
You really are an Italian from New York, aren't you?
He ate a whole pizza on his way there.
That's true. He bought 6, ate 1, showed up with 5.
He was the coolest guy, man. I love that dude. Yeah, he was the coolest guy ever.
Yeah, Joey, my brother Joey, he's 10 years younger than me, but we've always been close. He was always like one of my closest brothers, and especially since we both kind of converted around the same time and stuff, he's just my go-to conversation if I need to talk to someone. The life of the party.
So to go back to your question, just really quickly. So yeah, I was edified after that, and I was like, people need to hear these stories more. So I just thought to myself, what if we did like a 5 to 8 minute segment on just giving good Catholic news, but made it kind of fun and humorous. So I did the best I could, and I think the next one, I already got my 4 stories ready to go.
Okay, so go ahead, Rob.
I was just saying, you know what? It reminds me of, I forget what it was called, but right when the pandemic started, everyone was on lockdown. I forget who it was, but they started more or less the same idea.
John Krasinski, I think is his name.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he did something like that. Yeah.
Let me tell you, if you look back to COVID, there were definitely good things that happened early on, especially. I mean, I had a lot of graces in my life during that time. But real quick, what I really am hoping that people do is see the way. All right, so guys, first off, if you haven't seen that video, the Good Catholic News video after tonight's show, please go check it out. It doesn't have that many views on it because, I mean, it's under 1,000 views because it's good news. And people,
if only 5 minutes, the algorithm doesn't share it as much either.
Yeah.
Is that right?
So what we really want is viewer submissions.
Yes.
So if you have a quick story about someone you know converting, if you have something happen in your parish, I mean, Enoch went and he just mentioned people, like your name will be in the show. It'll be, you know, I know a lot of people are personal and they don't like sharing their personal information, but it doesn't have to be so personal where you're doxing yourself or anything. Just something positive that happened at your parish, something positive that's happening in your family, anything like that. We just kind of want to do something to uplift people's spirits. Because even when we have Bishop Schneider on, he said one of the biggest things that the trad community needs to work on is not being hopeless and trying to raise people's hopes and show them the positivity.
That was the show. That was the 5 minutes I caught. I'm sorry. That was that was it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, so I had no idea how you were going to do it, but you did such a good job, even like weaving in the little video clip of us when we were away, and just the way you shared each story was a quick thing. It was so like upbeat. And so when you called me and asked me if you could do it, I was like, I'll honestly, like, you could have our login. I don't care. You have carte blanche to do whatever you want. There's not a thing I would ever question if you wanted. You could, if you wanted to do an hour show a week on our channel, I would be open to you just taking over the airwaves.
Nobody wants to hear me talk for an hour. Trust me.
I totally forgot, but I have to call Father Isaac for you and get him to do Get to Know.
Yeah. I just had John Doyle on. Y'all should get him.
How was that?
Sure, you mentioned that.
Oh, I love. He's such a good kid. One of the smartest kids I've ever like. I used to watch during the pandemic. I'd watch a lot of Doyle.
Yeah.
Heikoff Kami.
Yeah, it's look, it's hard to find. So, okay. The other thing, did you see the story? Everybody was ripping on these kids. They said it's called silent walking. These kids are doing silent walking where they're just unplugging, right?
You just mean walking. Right?
Just walking, right? So everybody, I saw Matt Walsh was like, oh, so the kids discovered what people did for 1,000 years, right? And making fun of Gen Z. But if you really think about it, I mean, I drive in my car. I'm in the car 14 hours a day. But even before iPhones came along, I would always listen to talk radio.
Yeah.
Have music on. Before that, it was a Walkman, a Discman. I always had distractions, even before the iPhone, right? It wasn't just, it's not, I mean, yeah, it's terrible and amped up now with these stupid screens in our faces, but I've always had distractions to keep me from just sitting and being alone. I have to fight myself every morning on the way into work to pray my rosary in the morning. It's not something that comes naturally. It is like, I just want to get through it. It's hard for me. I have a hard time sitting in silence. So yeah, it's easy to make fun of these kids, but sitting in silence isn't so easy, man. And I think it's not just Gen Z and millennials. It goes back to.
Well, I mean, if you think of most boomers, at least that I know, they always need TV on, like even to sleep, right? Like they watch the news not because they're interested in the news, but because like it's this habit that's ingrained in them from when they were little, you know. So yeah, it definitely goes back.
It goes back. It's not just Gen Z and millennials. And I'll be honest, I think it starts with the invention of the radio. It goes back that far where people would gather around and listen to Little Orphan Annie around on the radio. And as soon as you had this entertainment option through technology, I think people were just instantly hooked in, and that's how long we've been distracted.
Yeah,
you guys are correct. I think the only difference here is, and of course, this is where because I dealt with teenagers for so many years, and not in a bad way. But I think that the main difference is you could take somebody from 100 years ago, could listen to an entire radio program and retain for most of it, and actually sit through an hour. Where nowadays the TikTok brain has gotten people to flip every few seconds to the point where I think a teacher was asked by her principal not to show a 5-minute clip of educational video because the kids they can't retain it.
Yeah.
So St. Augustine, and among other saints, says that it's nearly impossible for you to reach the highest form of perfection without mental prayer. So if it means that you just go on a silent walk, that's going to rewire your brain to kind of calm it down, because without an outside without outside force allowing the entertainment, maybe some people can get the imagination back to help with the mental faculties and with mental prayer.
Well, okay, so I catch a lot of grief every Halloween because I celebrate Halloween. My wife loves making costumes. It's a very touchy subject with Catholics.
That's awesome costume. Your costumes are like really well done.
Well, my wife is so creative, and she's an artist, and she loves to darn you, Marconi.
Freaking Italians, am I right?
So my wife loves to be creative. So we've always, we did White Boy Autumn the other day on Sunday. So we went out to a pumpkin festival. I drank pumpkin beer, and it was this is just such a white people thing to do, right? Like you go out. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of Spanish people there. I think they're trying to rob white culture. I think it's cultural appropriation. There was a lot of Spanish people out at the pumpkin patch this year, okay? I was making fun of my friend at work today. He's Spanish. I'm like, what'd you do Sunday? I went pumpkin picking. I'm like, that's cultural appropriation, bro. Go to the soccer field with all the families and go play soccer. That's what you guys do. We go pumpkin picking.
Go play soccer. Go with the party at the park.
So that's what we did Sunday. Now we come home with our pumpkins, and the whole family is together carving pumpkins. It's one racial role today.
Just don't give me no Chinese impersonation, please.
So we get the whole family together, and we're carving pumpkins, but there's no phones out. We're all sitting together, carving our pumpkins together, having conversations. It was we're in trouble when Consuela is walking around with white fluffy vests and brown boots, carrying a pumpkin spice latte at the pumpkin patch. Listen, so we're all carving pumpkins, just having conversations, talking about, and I use it to talk to my kids about how what we're doing with the pumpkins is they're basically gargoyles on the outside of a church. And so Rob and I did a Halloween episode last year. I don't think we're going to do another one this year. So if you guys want to go and watch,
I thought you said we were going to.
Oh man, rehash that article I wrote.
No, you said we'd have to do it differently.
Yeah, all right, maybe.
Then you felt lazy. Then you got lazy. I see what
might.
happened.
Halloween's approach, maybe the week of Halloween, but we named the episode "Make Halloween Catholic" again, and I kind of described what I do with my kids to make sure the holiday itself is Catholic.
Yeah,
by celebrating it as a Triduum, doing the All Souls and All Saints Day, going to a cemetery and actually praying to get the indulgence. There's several things you could do to actually make it a Catholic holiday,
right,
where it doesn't become this
worshiping statues of Mary.
Yeah. The inside of your home should be like the inside of the cathedral with all your Catholic decorations around, and the outside should have monsters to ward off other monsters. And when the kids come to trick or treat, it's like you're feeding the demon a little bit, because if you don't, they'll come and toilet paper your house, things like that. Pumpkin beer is so good. Dang, Anthony, wow, the racism.
He complains about them not assimilating, and then he complains about them when they do assimilate.
I was really, really baffled by this one. I wasn't sure how to handle it, because in one way I was like happy, like, okay, you guys are becoming Americans now, but I don't know. This is a very corny white people thing to do, and I kind of want to keep it for us. It's like if I start seeing them at the snowboarding hill, there's gonna be a problem. Oh, I thought that was gonna laugh. You guys are killing me.
Well, I thought Enoch raised his hand.
No, I was reading what I was saying. Hi, Adrian, because he.
Oh,
yeah. How bad?
I thought I was gonna laugh because skiing's a white people sport.
See, you want them to be like other types of white people, not your type of white people. You want them to be like rednecks or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Go shoot guns. Go do that stuff. Don't come to the pumpkin patch. There's too many people there.
By the way, we the Good Catholic News. I didn't know this, but apparently poor Steve Cunningham, text me. He goes, I was thinking about doing good news segment, you bastard.
Yeah. So,
Right.
No.
It was just another divorce from this DC segment.
Here's what he does though. He goes, "You guys spend 2 hours talking about the negative stuff and give it a 5-minute segment for the good news." I said, "Really? From clown news guy? Clown news guy who spends hours going into the deep state's coming to get us, guys. The deep state's coming to get." He's gonna rip on me for only giving a 5-minute segment.
Steve, do one video without mentioning the WEF. I dare you.
Divorce from DC. Divorce from DC.
Hey, I love you guys. You guys' channel is definitely number 2 for me, but Census Fidelium is still the greatest.
Oh, of course.
Doesn't even hold a candle.
Well, as long as Steve's not actually on the show, yeah, of course. He sent me another video serenading me today.
Oh, you too?
Oh yeah, he just sings to me all the time. This sicko.
You know, he's got some good ideas. He just commissioned me to do that song "Eclipse of the Heart." I forgot the one that sings it. Turn around.
Every
Yeah,
now
That's
and then
what
again.
he was saying to me yesterday on text message.
I just got done writing a parody version of Ad Orientem.
Oh,
Turn
no.
around.
That's actually brilliant.
So Steve said that. So we're gonna start recording it. Me and this other lady with the good voice. So that'll be funny when it comes out.
You want to know one thing? I'm actually mad that we didn't do.
Yeah.
When we were away. So we had this idea. We had the greatest idea. We didn't film it.
Right.
We wanted to set it up like we were at an AA meeting where everybody sits in a circle. Father Dave Nix was going to be the facilitator, and we were all I was going to come in and go, I was at this one Novus Ordo, and the lesbian with the short hair put so much Purell on her hands that when I received, I tasted the Purell in my mouth, and we were going to tell Novus Ordo horror stories in the form of an AA meeting.
It's been 4 months since the last Novus Ordo.
Hi, my name is Anthony. I'm a recovering Novus Ordo attendee. Hi,
I'm a recovering
Anthony.
modernist.
I have to give up my 6-month chip today because
Hi, I'm Fawaz. I get my 30-day chip today.
Oh,
that would have been
Fawaz.
a brilliant bit.
should we tell Anthony the prank?
Yeah, maybe we should tell him, man. That was
Wait, you guys were going to do it and you didn't?
No,
Yeah.
we kind of we're gonna do a prank. We're gonna do a prank on you.
If we went to the Padre Pio shrine,
What do you mean? What were you gonna do?
Rob,
We're
you tell it.
we were gonna find what was that show? That YouTube show that we based the idea of?
Impractical Jokers. The
Did you
New
ever
York
see
guys.
the clip from Impractical Jokers where they have people go up to this like like professional athlete and pretend they know him?
Yeah.
We were gonna find people at the Padre Pio shrine and convince them to come up to you and be like, "Are you Anthony from Avoiding Babylon?"
We were gonna get multiple people to do it. That's why we were begging to go.
That's why we wanted to go.
Oh my gosh. I would have been like, wait, what's going on here? This isn't what's going on?
We were going to do that at first, and then we figured it would actually be funnier if we got them all to come up to me and then not acknowledge you at all.
Are you Rob?
Are you Rob on Avoiding Babylon and not even act like they never
Yeah,
even
exactly.
Yeah, Don's right though. It actually does happen. That's the thing. People, I think because we're very relatable. So people, if they see me at mass, they come over and say hello, and I like
Trust
that.
me, they hear you before they see you.
Yeah, I'm sure, but I honestly love when people come up to me because first off it gives me hope that the show's catching on, right? I mean, It's very cool that people are actually seeing it, and I want to meet people, man. I want my church to be like their church down in Kentucky. So the more people that come up and introduce themselves, the more people I get to know, and hopefully we can do a men's group soon.
You see this?
You guys should have Anthony Luciano Ramondi on your show. He claims to have helped in murdering Pope John Paul I. He has a video on YouTube explaining. He will come on 100% to tell. I think I've heard of him. Yeah,
Me too. Yeah, I heard of him.
Oh, my favorite part of the Good Catholic News is, and to quote Luca Brazzi, may your first child be a masculine child.
Joe Enders.
Yeah. Oh man, Enoch, you got to go, right?
I do. Yeah.
Dude, thanks for popping in, man. Always
Absolutely.
love when you stop by. All right, so guys, where can they send submissions to.
Yeah, you can do it on my email. I'm cool. I don't. Yeah. So
Yeah. Keep. I look. You guys can either send it to. I think it's holy40project@gmail.com, right?
Yeah.
That would be the preferable place. If you guys forget that, you can even send stuff to Rob's email. Also, it will get it to
team@avoidingbabylon.com.
team@avoidingbabylon.com. But we'd rather you send it to holy40project@gmail.com.
Yeah. Send me your stories. Yeah.
Yeah, send us any stories of good news that you see happening in the church. If it's a family member converting, Nancy Charles was the main story in that last episode. We have Nancy Charles on next Thursday.
Yep.
So we have Daniel O'Connor on Tuesday next week, and we have Nancy Charles on Thursday. And I'm really excited to hear Nancy's story. Who's the man with the beard?
Nick Cavasso.
I'm gonna send Nick the link, Rob. I'm gonna have Nick join us.
Okay, sounds good.
So we'll get rid of Enoch and we'll get Thomas on here.
One last thing. November 1st. Kenisa.
Oh, the new album comes out. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Let's
I'm always same gimmick is a sidetrack. We sell like it's free cause we don't see the price tag. Fight back, put that on the right track. Yeah, I'm on the right track. In the box, life hack. Saying it's a white black. Off the wall, Mike Jack. Heisman Trophy demons with the tight jab. Till you see a white flag. Sadly in a life and that's a light flash. In between that, I'm a side crash. Christ be my life rap. Fly so high, bring my kite back. And my head's so big that my cross be my ice pack. You in a state of grace, so you not. Mercy of God won't be mocked. 6 feet down on the plot. A life of sin to put you on the run. A life of sin to put you on the run.
Dude, I'm excited for it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm excited for it. All right, so a couple things. All right, so his album comes out November 1st. You got News from the Pew every Thursday.
Yeah.
Please go subscribe to News from the Pew. Please go subscribe to The Armed Catholic on YouTube also.
We haven't had Rick on in forever.
Support Rick, man. Rick's one of the greatest guys I know. Absolutely.
And Rick's working nights now, so it's hard to get him on.
Ooh.
So I've been talking to him, though. We're going to try and get him on. But, guys, go subscribe to The Armed Catholic. Go subscribe to News from the Pew. Enoch's album's coming out November 1st. And send your positive stories to holy40project@gmail.com. Fawaz, man, I always love talking to you, brother. Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks, guys. God bless.
Yeah,
Adios,
you too,
brother.
man. Take it easy.
Peace out, y'all.
He's such a good dude.
He's the best.
Such a good dude. There's so many people we've met doing this thing over the past year, man. It's just such an awesome thing to make other friends that are so on board with just like being Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
Look who's here. Look at this guy.
Gentlemen.
It's been a while.
It's been a minute, yeah. How you guys doing?
Yeah, dude. Where you been?
I've been literally everywhere over the Stratosphere the last week.
I've seen that.
So I went to Gower, Missouri to see Sister Wilhelmina with Tim Flanders. We made
Oh,
an
you
episode
went with
there.
him.
Yeah, we went there.
How was that?
It was awesome. Honestly, it's one of those things when you see an incorruptible in real life as opposed to with the short, you know, at least my beard will last longer in the life in life. But yeah, no, it's one of those things when you see an incorrupted person, your brain just kind of like, what am I looking at? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is going on?
They put wax over them though, right?
They just put it on her face, just like a wax face model, but her actual face is still fine, you know?
Yeah.
It's still fine.
All right. So a couple of things that really affected my never actually losing the faith were the things my parents showed me as a kid was they showed me Eucharistic miracles and incorruptible saints. So if you guys are raising your kids, show those things to your kids because those are the things that will linger into their mind when they're getting thrown these other ideologies and stuff. They'll always have the miraculous proof of the Catholic faith to come back to as a grounding. I mean, it did for me. I don't know if every kid will work like that, but it's definitely one of those things that had a deep effect on me that I never even considered another version of Christianity. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And dude, those nuns, like when you guys go up, so we were blessed. So Tim and I show up early in the morning and they let us in for matins, like super early in the morning.
Oh, wow.
And then like, there's just something about super holy nuns that is like a male absolutely convicts the heck out of you. you're just like, wow, I need to do so much better. And there's like, 60, 70 nuns, a good like 75% are below the age of, 25. There was like 3 postulants that I was like, are you 16? Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I was like, I don't know. You look very, very young. So we did that. We filmed the show there. Then we drove over to St. Mary's, Kansas, right? Saw the Immaculata. And again, you just have to go in person. But dude, that entire town, it is actual Christendom. Like,
Really?
it is actual Christendom. So it's like 5,000 trads essentially in one town. All the businesses are owned by them. The city government's owned by them. They've banned contraception in the city limits. They've like,
wait, where is this?
I think that's
St. Mary's,
St.
Kansas,
Mary's. That's the SSPX town.
yeah,
So
that's
wait,
big.
what order is she from?
But
Oh no. So yeah. So this is 2 different things. So yeah, Gower.
Okay.
Yeah. So Sister Wilhelmina, she was with the Benedictines.
Okay, so how close is that to St. Mary's, Kansas?
It's like an hour, probably an hour.
So you guys were that close. You were able to go to St. Mary's, Kansas.
Yeah. So we went there. We hung out with James Vogel. You guys honestly should have him.
How great is James?
He's awesome. He's
Dude, I
really
freaking love James Vogel.
He's
One
such
of my
a chill
favorite.
dude.
Huh?
He's such a chill dude. He's so great.
One of my favorite people ever. Oh man, he is so cool. He was like my partner in crime at the coalition conference.
Oh, was he? Yeah.
I hung with him the whole weekend. Every time I went outside to have a cigarette, he was out there having one. I'm like, James, let's go. Like me and him. He texted me when he heard I quit smoking. He's like, I can't believe you quit smoking on me, bro.
You quitter.
How dare you? Oh man, he was awesome. He was a gracious host. Took us all around, and then after that, I'm not honestly entirely sure where Tim went because I went down south to my home away from home's Clear Creek Abbey for the 3 Hearts pilgrimage. And dude, honestly, the whole time, I was thinking specifically Anthony needs to come to this just because you're a social butterfly. And it's 2,000 trad. Just picture this: 2,000 trads in a field, tents everywhere, Crusader banners flying everywhere, Crusader chant being blasted from like the megaphones everywhere. And then when you wake up in the morning, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. They're playing Crusader chant to wake you up. They're playing bagpipes. You're getting into organized lines with banners and flags, and then you march for 35 miles in 2 days. Just singing Crusader chants, singing Gregorian rosaries.
I have an idea. Next year, we do a Halloween program where we pay for Mike Lewis to go spend the Halloween of his life at something like this. It has to be his nightmare.
I was going to say next year's meetup, maybe we'll do that. Do they do that every year?
Every year. So it started literally 5 years ago. And the whole purpose behind it is it's just to build up holy traditional Catholic families. So it started 5 years ago. It was like it was a dad and I think 13 of his sons, something like that, like big family. And they marched 35 miles to the monastery from and this out in the middle of absolutely nowhere, mountains, beautiful pine trees. And every year it kept growing. So last year was about 1,500. This year it was over 2,000.
So, and is this in like the part of like the Ozarks in Oklahoma? Okay.
Yeah. Foothills of the Ozarks. And I had several people come up. They recognized me from my show. Several people asked specifically, how's Anthony doing? And I was just like, he's doing great, I guess.
I don't know how people watch the show. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, people are starting to see our show, man. Honestly, it's so hopeful, like that people catch it.
When we were done at so check this out. So when we finally make it, it was tough. So like, it's a tough journey. Like a lot of people think of the Chartres pilgrimage as like the ultimate trad pilgrimage.
Yeah.
And it kind of is, but it's on flat ground in France. This is like going up and down gravel roads in the middle of the mountains. And so like the last 4 miles, no joke, I'm still like hobbling right now. I was using a staff to like pick my way down the road.
All right, so wait a minute. How long is this walk?
35
miles. How long does it take?
2 days.
It takes 2 days, 2 long days. Yeah.
So what do you bring tents and you guys set up tents?
Bring tents, you bring your sleeping bags, all that kind of good stuff. And then they'll feed you, but they feed you just 1 meal a day. So very, very penitential. So you're walking on 1 meal a day, 35 miles in the mountains.
I think, Rob, we should do this because look, I want to do the Chartres pilgrimage, but that's 60 miles.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
You want to take the easier
I want to take, but this is in the hills. This is not easier.
I would talk to multiple people who've done both many times, and everybody agreed that this is the harder of the two. This is the much harder version of the two.
I think, okay, so I really think next year's meetup should be where because I think we'll have a lot bigger of an audience, Rob. I think it should be somewhere we could do a public meetup.
Something like this.
This might be something like that, and it'll add to the group. And
you guys could actually, what you could do is if you could it's every October, put it out like in the summertime or something next year, like early summer. Because what you guys could do is actually you could lead a chapter and you could just create your own chapter. So you and all the viewers who want to join your chapter can all march together the whole time.
I really want to do something.
We don't want to be the company of misfit toys, though.
Yeah.
I like that though. What
I
do you
know
mean?
you
It's exactly what I want to be. Is the company of misfits.
You probably want to change it to, other than avoiding Babylon, something more saintly,
Yeah. Well, the thing is, we'll come up with a holy name, but the thing is, something like that is it's not that expensive. So if people wanted to go, it's not like you're going to a conference where it costs you $700 for the conference, $300 a night for the hotel room. It probably costs just your travel and $150 or something.
For to sign up, I think it's $50 and that's it.
$50 to go and do that, and then you get your meal, and you guys got to bring a couple Snickers bars to hold you over. You might have to do that.
Yeah, and
Anthony would just have to bring a few boxes of cigars to chain smoke as he walks.
there was trust me, so of the 2,000 people, over 50% were below the age of 16. So, dude, I, no joke, saw children the age of 9, 10, 11 walking barefoot for 35 miles over gravel, right? Doing penance for holy families in the United States and around the world. And then when we finally make it to the monastery, who's waiting for us? His Eminence Cardinal Burke. Right?
Get out of here.
Cardinal Burke's waiting for us. And, dude, so number one, I've never seen a solemn pontifical high mass, right, with the bishop. But that was the most glorious mass I've ever heard. We had 2 boys' choirs of 50 people each, plus 60 of the monks, plus 30 clergy, all traditional orders. We saw all the medieval banners everywhere, 2,000 faithful, all packed in that ancient monastery. And I was weeping in it. It was just the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen in my life. And there's a small video, I'm going to probably put it up tomorrow, but there's a small video where I actually go and I kneel before Cardinal Burke. He receives me for 30, 45 seconds. And I thank him for, you don't have to do it barefoot. You don't have to do it barefoot. But he received me, and I basically told him, thank you so much for what you said during the dubia. It's sad that we even have to be asking these questions right now. But
got a chance to talk with him?
Yeah. No, I got to talk to him for a good solid minute. And he was very appreciative of what he did. I specifically said, what you did voice the concerns that so many of us in Catholic media are just dying for somebody to ask and say. Yeah. And he said specifically 2 things. He said, please tell the faithful to pray for me and for the other bishops and cardinals. And then 2, in that thing to never lose hope, to always keep fighting. And then he gave me his blessing. So it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I would say, there's obviously crazy things going on in the church, but I haven't lost hope, man. I'm very hopeful. I kind of am just waiting on God to intervene at this point. I don't know the answers to a lot of things. I see a lot of people want to, come up with their own answers, but I think it's just the time to just sit back and say, all right, God is in control. He's got this. At some point, everything's going to seem hopeless and all hope is lost, and God will reveal himself in a way that will be unmistakable.
Yeah, fully agree. So yeah, you guys need to do it. It was so much fun, and I recommend everyone go out and do it if you're physically able to. Absolutely awesome. Bring your kids.
All right, so here's the deal. We're going to jump over to locals. If you are watching the live show right now, you can watch that show for free. So anybody that wants to come over and hang with us in locals, if you do not subscribe or pay for it, you are fine. You can watch it for free. Anybody that is catching this replay tomorrow, let's say, the locals portion will be behind a paywall, and it will be $5. So if you guys catch our live show, you can always watch the full show for free. If you can't afford the $5, you could reach out to us and
just email me.
There's avenues. Just email Rob if you really do enjoy the show and you can't afford it. Let us know. We'll get you a free membership. Or you can go and just listen to the audio version. We always put the entire show up on audio. We don't want anybody that wants to watch it not be able to because they can't afford it. We will make sure you can afford it if you can't. So we're going to hop over there. Everybody, this is a really, yes, the grifting has begun. Please share our show, guys. It's the only way to make these shows grow.
Don.
The only way to get this show to grow.
Worst scriptures ever.
Yeah. The Michael Hitchborn show had like 4,000
Oh,
views.
my
And they yanked it
gosh.
down on us. And then we put it back up, and it's up back at like 1,200. But that show was killing it.
It had momentum.
Such momentum. The algorithm caught it. It was going. It was such a good show. I'm so angry about it.
It's all
Did
because of
YouTube kill
CNN.
Did YouTube kill it?
Yeah.
YouTube killed it because we played a stupid video of CNN at the beginning. And
CNN, well, to be fair, CNN is worth canceling. So maybe it was their one base mode.
just, dude, it was, if you didn't watch that show, man, it was so interesting. Just so interesting. We got into the myths and the science of what happened before the flood. It was just one of my favorite shows we've ever done, and they killed it on us. It's just, I'm so mad about it. I actually wound up listening to that portion with my son on the way to Mass on Sunday, and he was blown away too by it. He thought it was so interesting. All right, so we're going to jump over to locals, guys. Please like, subscribe, share this with your friends at Mass on Sunday. That's when you guys have to spread this show. At Mass on Sunday, after Mass, when you're outside talking to everybody, say, guys, have you ever listened to Avoiding Babylon? That is what will help this show grow. We really do appreciate everybody checking us out. Thank you guys so much. We will see you on Thursday. I don't have a topic picked yet. We usually wing it Thursday morning.
Yes, we do.
We'll see what's happening. I'm sure something will come up. All right, Nick, stick around. You coming with us?
Unite the clans. Enoch. Let's go. Yo. Take me back to my reversion. Unite the clans. I give thanks to each person. It's that same holy water that we immerse in.